Hi all, this is a sort of follow-on video from my choke selection video I posted a while ago, and it's sort of a request also from Fra1986, who asked me to explain cartridges and their uses in layman's terms. And as you can see, there's a little bit of a selection there. There are three different lengths here. There's 2.5, 2 3/4, and 3-inch cartridges here. Obviously, I hope you should know that you never ever mix cartridges. If you have a 2.5-inch chambered gun and a 3-inch or a 2 3/4-inch, either have two separate bags or make really sure that you completely empty out your 70mm cartridges from the bag if you're going to go and shoot your 2 3/4-inch chambered gun, because if you don't, what will happen is you won't get proper obturation, which is when the cartridge opens out. See, the crimp has opened out there into that sort of manky star. That won't completely seal against the barrel walls, and you might get some sort of leakage of gas, which could come out of the between the barrels and the breech, or and as well as obviously there's the chamber, and the forcing cone is a little bit like that. So it's a wedge in before the barrel, so it goes chamber walls, forcing cone, barrel. And if you choose a cartridge that's too long, that effectively makes the forcing cone in the barrel much smaller, and it creates more resistance for the shot column and the wad to come out of the cartridge. So you'll increase the pressure back here. And once it gets past the end of the chamber and into thinner metal, you may end up having a barrel burst, which is never good for retention of digits or the longevity of guns, especially if it's an older gun. Now, with the safety briefing over, we should get to cartridges. I've got these arranged in order of shot size from smallest to largest. This first cartridge is a clay cartridge. This is Express or Live Ale. People use the sort of the term interchangeably. It's usually written as Live Ale Express. English Sporter, as it says there, 28 grams, 7.5 in 2 3/4-inch. Uses the usual sort of 6-point crimp and a short brass head there. Actually, it's steel, but it's got a electroplated brass. As I say, that's a clay cartridge. It's for breaking clays. You would be unwise to use that on game. It probably would kill the birds, quite well, out to about 25 yards perhaps. But ideally you're wanting a much bigger shot size. Minimum people tend to use is 6. That's what I use. 5s for a bit later on in the season when the birds are a bit further away, or you're killing slightly bigger game, say, or tougher games, say you're shooting rabbits. You might want to assign the 5s with a little bit more energy to do the business. Some people like to carry different types of cartridges for shooting clays. I know a mate of mine, when we go shooting down at the club, likes to carry 9s as well as 8s. 9s for targets a little bit further away. You've got a denser shot pattern, and using slightly larger shot for things like rabbits that are often closer, but they're a much tougher target, much harder to break because they need to roll along the ground. If it was a regular, a midi or a standard target, it would just break apart. So that's why some people like to use a bigger shot size for rabbits. I don't. I get on perfectly well with these cheap El Cheapo cartridges. These are 130 quid, 1,000, I think. I generally buy the cheapest that's there, and once you get used to the speed and how much lead you need, they're fine. Next one along is a game cartridge. This is a cartridge from Ely, very good, a very old, well-established English brand. Ely High Flyer number 6, 30 grams, made in England. As I said, 30 grams number 6. The pretty much, I would have said, ideal game cartridge, whether you're shooting pigeons, pheasants, crows, rabbits, whatever. I've used these for a couple of years now. They're a good speed, the recoil's pretty low, they kill effectively. This is a fibre wad. I don't see the need for a plastic wad. For me, it doesn't have any effect. A lot of clay shoots don't like using plastic. Farmers won't want you using plastic, so just use fibre. It's much better on the environment. I know that seems a little bit hypocritical, seeing as we're actually killing the animal, and also spreading lead pellets around the countryside, but lessen your impact. Let's say 30 grams number 6. Good all-round cartridge. I would have said that pretty much most people, rough shooting, game shooting, will be using something very similar to